What's going on, world? This is your girl, Marky Lemons-Ryhal, and today I am very, very excited. I have somebody who's dear to my heart. We've known each other about 15 years. I met her actually when she was publishing an investor magazine, Invest with Passion,
hmm
and for some reason she asked me to come speak. Then her and her business partner, Freddie Taylor, decided that I should do video. So I would blame it all on her and Freddie Taylor. And then they told me I had to use this thing called Facebook. So for 15 years, we've been friends. We've created businesses together. We've watched one another grow, actually transform into who we are today. Oh, and she has graphic design skills. She probably doesn't want the world to know that. Unlike any other. She also, I'm using so much of the content that she developed for me. She's created a lot of my content, my checklist, my 7-day social media setup guide, my daily checklist. Man, look, we've done a lot together.
We have.
What's going on, Anita AC Clinton of Be Great Global?
Everything. Like this is an amazing season for me. And so I'm so excited to be here. Hello, everyone that's out there listening. You know what's interesting is I saw you posted a post talking about Landmark and what was the other thing?
Landmark Farm and the movie The Secret.
The Secret, yep. And so as I started thinking, you remember when I went to the Landmark, I called you and I was like, Marky, I know you've done this before. What are your thoughts?
I remember.
Right? And that Landmark Forum changed my life as well. And it's interesting because, people talk about it being cult-like, and it does have some tendencies, right, to try to keep you connected. It's a little aggressive than normal, but for the most part, like that course, I recommend everyone take that course.
You know what's funny about Landmark? So let's be clear. We want everybody to have a fantastic 2020.
Right.
But here's what's interesting about Landmark, and here's what's even interesting about our relationship. I'll start with our relationship first. We came together under real estate. Right? You were a loan originator. Freddie was a appraiser.
Yeah.
I was a broker. You had a magazine, Invest with Passion, and you guys were passionate about investing. And honestly, it's 15 years later, we are all essentially doing something a little different than what we were doing when we met. But I believe that everything we're doing now is what we were called to do. Like the level of freaking happiness is unreal. Like Freddie was what he does, he was meant to do, even though we would have never envisioned these playing cards, right? 100%. You were called to really be in the ministry, right? Because you've always been spiritual and grounded in the word, right? And you made it work for you on your terms. So each of us, because we all have big personalities and essentially big voices, and we're going to do what we want to do, really, if it comes down to it. We made businesses that work for our personality that would not suffocate who we really are at the core.
Yeah, I would agree. And I will also add to that what we did together help lay the foundation for what each of us are doing right now, because we learned some how-tos in that process, right? And I think that at some level, we're all still using those how-tos that we learned, because me and Freddie didn't know how to design no websites. Like we did the research, took the tutorials to learn how to do websites specifically for foreclosure. What was the name of that company?
Oh, the ADPR, the Accredited Distressed Property Representative Designation. Look, but it keeps showing up, right? So if we go to Landmark, right? Landmark, when you go through the form, you have those initial benefits.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's kind of like you put it on a shelf. But it keeps coming back time and time and time again. And lately, because of the amount of success we're experiencing, we realize it has been present. Like it just keeps popping up. And you're like, man, okay, you've been working. I might not have been working, but you have been working. So I know that you have Be Great Global. Tell us about Be Great Global.
Yeah, so Be Great Global is my online training platform. And so the idea behind Be Great Global is it's a do-it-yourself platform. So I'm of the belief that we all were created to achieve something great in our lifetime. And that when you connect to whatever that thing is and you begin to pursue it, it transforms your life, but it also transforms the experience that we all have in the world. And one of the things that I kept running into with trying to help people connect to their purpose or the call in their lives was, I don't have the money to do this, or I don't have the resources to make that happen, or the know-how to make that happen. And so in my mind, I'm like, okay, what can I do on a larger scale to make it easier for people to get entry into whatever it is that they're called to do? And so Be Great Global, we do three things. We do a podcast, we do training programs, and we provide resources to help make doing what you're called to do as easy as possible. And I love it. Like, I get to use all of my skills and my talents, my superpower to help people get into and get started with what they're called to do. Because I think it just changes life when you enjoy what it is that you do for a living.
Oh, it changes everything. One,
Yeah.
I've met people who have all the materialistic things one could ever want in life. And at the moment they open their mouths or they have to respond and react to someone, you realize they aren't happy. Because if you are happy, you don't do unhappy things.
Correct.
Like, the two don't coexist
Yep.
at the same time, right? And so I tell people, oh yeah, they can say whatever, but that their actions say something else. So when you think about what you were called to do inside of Be Great Global, what is that? Were you placed here to help others?
Yep. I'm the connector. So I can remember as a kid, I was always hardwired to fix it. So if there was a problem, there was an issue, somebody was having a challenge, I was like, okay, what can I do to help fix whatever this situation may be? And the cool thing that I realized is that as I began to help people, whatever skill sets I needed, like, I got them. I tell people that you can learn how to do anything on Google and YouTube. Anything you want to know how to do, if you really want to know how to do it, the information is there. And so I would teach myself how to do certain things because my client needed help in whatever that thing may be. And so today, like, I'm the connector. Like, I connect people from where they are currently to help them get to the place that they want to be, or the place that I believe that they were called and created to operate in. Like, life, it changes. You're not going up killing somebody when you know the reason for your existence, when you have a purpose. It just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen, because at the end of the day, what we're called to do is to benefit other people. We exist to make life better for others. And we have been gifted with skills and talents to do whatever that thing may be.
So I know that you are very familiar with the world of real estate. If I was to come to you, we're going to give you a couple of scenarios. Okay, I'm coming to you and I've been in real estate. Actually, this was an alarming statistic that came out. They said that last year, over half of the realtors did not make $10,000.
Wow.
Okay? So let's assume that I'm one of those people. I did not make $10,000. I borrowed the money to come into the world of real estate. I haven't repaid that money back. I want to increase my sales. As a connector and someone who's very familiar with the world of real estate, what would you tell that person they need to do?
Yeah, I think it starts with strategy, right? So the strategy for what you're doing and how you're doing what you're doing, right? And I think that you do an amazing job of helping individuals from a social media perspective, get themselves out there and make a name for themselves and create a space where people are attracted to them. But what's the strategy? What's your plan, right? And so that could start with just goals. What are your goals for 2020? What numbers would you like to hit, right? And we talk about SMART goals, right? So specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and then there's some type of timeline that's associated with those goals. So starting there, what is the goal? How much money do you want to make for 2020? And then once you figured out what those exact goals are, now let's reverse engineer that to figure out what you need to be doing every quarter, every month, every week, every day to make sure that you reach whatever that goal may be. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. And I know that we've talked about SMART goals. What you just said though resonates to reverse engineer the what that looks like. I am absolutely amazed at the percentage of people who come into the world of real estate who, one, don't realize they're entrepreneurs, but
Mm-hmm.
we cannot get business plans or goals for them. And at that point, then to me, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Right.
Right. So the first thing is we're going to sit down and we're going to write our goals down. Are you seeing people scared to be great?
I am. Absolutely. It's interesting because one, when we talk about this zone of greatness or this area of greatness, like it's so much bigger than who we are, right? It's typically way more than what we've ever done in our entire lives. And at the end of the day, that's scary. Like it's the unknown. It's the unknown factor. Like I have this amazing dream, this amazing ideal, this huge vision. And it's like, one, how do I do this? Right. Then two, we got these internal voices in our head that's, you can't do that. Like, what are you thinking? Nobody in your family has ever done that before. Like, who are you? And so that alone, the self-talk alone is enough to stop most people. And then at the end of the day, I think the biggest thing is just take some action. Do something, even if it's some little small steps, like you got to get started somewhere. And I believe that as you begin to step, the doors of opportunity begin to open for you. And what you didn't know, all of a sudden it's available to you. And it's not that it wasn't available to you before, but because you wasn't taking any action, you didn't even know that that existed. That opportunity over there existed. But once you begin to take that action, it makes life so much easier. And at the end of the day, it's scary. And you got to be okay with moving and being scared. So I say knees shaking, teeth clicking, I'm moving.
It's kind of funny. Zeke Morris, he has a saying he always says, but it's really around fair housing. And it's the fact that we have to become comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that someone said, and people say things to me all the time that just come back and hit me again. And one lady said, there is no growth in the comfort zone, period. Growth only occurs when you are uncomfortable.
Yeah, because it's not necessary in the comfortable zone.
No, it's not. You don't have to do anything, right? And every single day I'm trying to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I've explained to people I've had my greatest successes in my worst physical season only because I keep pushing, I keep moving, right? And I'm like, man, things just keep popping up. But then it comes back to other things. We have those goals, but we have to have affirmations and we have to have intentions. And people don't write it down. Now, even though I believe in technology, I keep a journal with me at all times. I write down, oh, here it is right here. I write down something right here every single day. Besides the goals, what has worked for you?
Yeah, so goals, but I have to talk to myself, right? Because we believe what we say to ourselves more than what we believe anybody else tells us or any other input that's coming in. It's at the end of the day, what are you saying to yourself? And so I have to keep myself encouraged. And so I have an affirmation that I say every morning. And typically I'll say it in the mirror. And it speaks to, who I am, right? Whether I see that person right now in reality, but it speaks to who I am. It speaks to where I'm going. I think that works well for me. And then the other thing, which I'm still looking for, I want an amazing mastermind group because I believe that if you can surround yourself with the right people, the people that understand your journey, they may be going in a different direction than you're going in, but they're going somewhere. Right? They have some goals in place. And then also who can support you and encourage you along your path, and then the other thing is with the mastermind groups, it's building a community because oftentimes when you're setting out to do something that no one has ever done before and you don't have a lot of support inside of that, you need that community of people because it can be lonely. it could be lonely because you're hustling, you're working, trying to make things happen. And there isn't a lot of time to be social. There isn't a lot of time to be hanging out if you're really serious about doing whatever it is that you're called to do. And so having that community, I think, makes the most difference.
So now, in you saying that, because you started a mastermind group, right? I remember the mastermind group, and I'm like, okay, so all these great things you've wanted inside of your life, you have actually taken the steps to create those things. So I'm really elated by the fact that you have taken those steps.
And at the end of the day, like, it's not easy. You know, I say all the time that when you're doing what you're called to do, it's effortless. Effortless doesn't mean that you don't work, right? It's easy work for you, but it's work. It's time intensive. You're putting in some exhaustion. Like it is work. It is a lot of work. But the amazing thing is, like, the feeling that you get, like, makes it all worth it.
Yeah, it really does. So the mastermind group, let me say this. I need to commit to a mastermind group. So you only get out of it what you put into it, right?
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes people come and they think that they can take and not give. So I have never put in enough to be able to extract the value of the mastermind group. And maybe that's something that I need, but I have on more than one occasion felt lonely in being an entrepreneur. That's when I decided that I would go join what was CIE community, what was it? CIE at the University of Chicago. It's now the Polsky Center for Innovation Exchange, right? And now it's the Polsky Center, where I was meeting with like-minded people, having daily dialogue because I was lonely at home. And actually, they worked with me on my pricing. I wasn't charging enough, which is one of the reasons I felt my energy was zapped and I wasn't making enough money. And they got my money right. And so now it's consistently looking for, I guess, a group of people who support the business in the same manner. It's kind of hard for me to find. I always work with highly ethical people, always. And I've worked with a lot of hardworking people. I will say that it does not often work when you're dealing with family members. So I have some family members I would never do business with again because our work ethic was different. And people feel as though money is just going to be given to them and they don't have to put, any work in. And we all want that person who is really going to grind with us. So you said an amazing mastermind group. So you've been a part of some mastermind groups. What did you think worked well? Let me ask you this. What would make it amazing?
Yep. I'm going to answer that, but let me just address something that you just said. So, one of the things that I've just experienced inside of partnering, doing joint ventures, and I can honestly say when we were working together, me, you, and Freddie, like, everybody did their part. And one of, and that's hard to find. Like, it really is hard to find people that are committed to whatever the vision is for the partnership or the joint venture, but then people that actually do their part. And it just works so much better when you have individuals that are like-minded, right? That are ethical. And the same as with the mastermind group. You have to find people that are committed. And committed being, if we say that we're meeting on Tuesdays at 8:30, you show up for the meeting. It's not, I went to bed late last night and so I'm not going to be able to make it this time. No, now if you sick, your family's sick and you're in the hospital, somebody in the hospital, it's some emergency, that makes sense. But outside of an emergency, the commitment is to this group on Tuesday at 7:30 or whatever time that you said. And then everybody has to be willing to give something. And typically with mastermind groups, you meet for 45 minutes. Once a week or 45 minutes every 2 weeks. And there are some groups that meet once a month. And the whole idea is we're holding each other accountable to doing what we say we're going to do. We're holding each other accountable to making a difference in the world. And it's really hard to find people that can commit, that are willing to give, as well as take, and to be of support. Like it shouldn't be hard, but it is. It's hard. And I know I am, I had a friend tell me a couple weeks ago that I have very high expectations for myself, and therefore I expect other people to come to that level as well. And so for me, it's really challenging to find a group that's a good fit for Anita Clinton.
I would 100% agree with you, because I'm not going to say you're a perfectionist, but you're almost as close to a perfectionist as one could exist, right? And you take your time real serious. And so if you say 8 o'clock, you're there and you're ready at 8 o'clock.
Yes.
So no ifs, ands, buts about it. Let me say this. One thing, and I was interviewing a gentleman a couple of weeks ago, and what you just said kind of plays into this. He says, when it comes to people in real estate or anybody, with 2 questions. The first thing is this your profession?
Mm-hmm.
And are you doing this to create a legacy?
Yeah.
If this is your profession and you're doing it to create a legacy, there isn't any room for excuses.
Right.
Essentially, you're not leaving any stone unturned.
Yeah.
And that's been like, I miss you and Freddie, because everybody doesn't work like you do.
That's what I'm saying too. I'm like, what is going with people?
Like, oh, what? You just gonna be rich? The money just gonna fly? Honestly, people don't understand the work that we've put in to get to where we are.
Yeah.
And I think maybe we make it look easy. When I say, when it comes to real estate, a lot of people want to know, how am I with Zeke and Nick? Probably, me, Nick and Zeke probably don't, we don't fit the cookie cutter mold of what people would look for. The reason I love those dudes, their work ethic is way above anyone. They're 100%. And I just love that. And they work and they work and they work and they work and they work, and they're constantly, here's the thing, concentrating on solutions and not on the problem.
Mm-hmm.
That comes out. So in 2020, what I'm hearing you say, what I think I'm hearing you say, people got to show up.
You got to show up. Yeah, you got to show up and do your part. You got to show up and do your part.
Figure that out.
Right. Like there are very few instances where things are going to be handed to you. Now it does happen, right? But for the most part, to get where you want to go, to have the success that you want to have, it takes work, it takes discipline, and it takes commitment. Like, those are the 3 key factors. If you can master those 3 key factors, there is nothing that you want to do that you cannot do.
Say that again.
Work, discipline, and commitment.
And you can have whatever you want to have.
You can do whatever you want to do, because if you're committed to it, that means that you're showing up no matter what. If you're disciplined, you're going to do what you need to do, which means sometimes making adjustments down the road, right, to get to where you want to be. And then if you put it in the work, like, you can't lose. You can't lose. Like, somebody said, you only fail if you quit, right? So failure only exists if you quit. But if you keep showing up every day, on time, doing what you say you're going to do, and being disciplined at it, like, at some point, you're going to win. You're going to win.
I 100% agree. And I'll take it back to my grandfather. My father tells a story about how my grandfather had holes in his shoes. And he told my father, one day I'm going to be able to buy you anything you want. I'll be able to buy you the desires of your heart. And my daddy said at the time he's saying it, man, you walking around here with holes in your shoes. How is that going to be humanly possible? And for my grandfather to not even graduate from 8th grade, to essentially leave a legacy, but they started in the barbecue business in 1954. And my grandfather took care of his children. He took care of me and my cousins, and he also provided for my children and my niece. And so he made good money, but he also came from contribution. So he did more for others than he ever did for himself. Right. And I think that's why the abundance kept flowing. But when he was telling people what he was going to do, people like, dude, you got holes in your shoes, right? But he was showing up every single day. He was working every single day because he was clear what he wanted. And essentially he would have died sitting in the same chair in the barbecue restaurant because he only took off Tuesdays. My grandfather did not like taking off Tuesdays. He did not like going on vacation. And matter of fact, when my grandmother died, her burial was on a Tuesday because he didn't want to close the barbecue restaurant down.
Wow.
Just so that you clear, okay?
Yeah.
And so that's how intense his commitment was. But his brothers were also as committed. Or when my mother decided to do the food truck, my mother took that food truck out April, essentially up until Thanksgiving. My mother wasn't missing a day. She didn't care rain, sleet, snow.
Right.
If it was in between those dates, she was hooking it up to her car. She didn't care if it was going to rain that day. She was going to pull it down, sit, let the rain pass, because that was her commitment. So I see a lot of people who call themselves entrepreneurs for the sake of saying they're entrepreneur, but one, it does not support them financially, but two, anything, and they don't go to work. And we talked earlier about things that I have in place, and I have a nanny who comes in and takes care of my son when I leave to go to work. I'm going to make it to work. I'm going to be on time, and I'm going to make it. And I explained to somebody, I have never been late, and I don't plan on this being my first time. And I was not late that day. Just so we clear. What do you think is missing with people today?
Yeah, I think it kind of goes back to perseverance, right? Setting out to do something that, mostly for the most part, you've never done before. And once again, it's typically something that's bigger than who you are. And it doesn't always go well in the beginning. Like there are hills, there are mountains, there are valleys. There's a whole array of things that you're going to come across in the process, right? And there is a process, and everybody has to go through some type of process. And sometimes it gets really hard and it gets really difficult. And there are times when you start to question, like, am I doing the right thing? Did I miss it somewhere? Or maybe I shouldn't be doing this, but I should be doing that. And I think that the people that are successful are the ones that experience the valleys and keep moving. They keep pressing, they keep pushing forward because they know or they believe in their heart of hearts that they're on the right path and that they're doing the right thing. And at some point, there has to be a shift. Like at some point, the shift has to come. And I think, that goes back into faith as well. Just believing in yourself, like just starting there, but believing in what you're doing and the possibilities that exist and the goals, right, that you set around whatever that thing may be. It's possible. It's work, though. It's going to require that you work. And it's going to require that you work when the times are hard and when the times are good. You may slack off a little bit in the gooder time when the times are better than others, but it's work and it's effort that you got to put into doing whatever it is you're doing.
I would 100% agree. I am a workaholic.
Yeah, me
and people consistently ask, are you tired? Or how long do you plan to do this? And I'm like, who would give this up? Like, this is a dream job. I get excited to go to work. I go talk all day. I hug people. I take selfies. Like, come on. The logistics, can be a headache. Actually, you asked me a question earlier, and I probably didn't give you the right answer. The thing that I do not like about my job is having to adjust the shower settings in the hotel room to get to that perfect heat. It's the most annoying, because at home I know exactly if I need a little hotter, hit it here. You need a little, hit it here, right? So I know exactly where the settings are. But every day I'm getting reacclimated to a new shower, and it 100% annoys me. So that lets you know I don't have any problems, right?
Right.
If I'm complaining about the temperature.
The shower, yes.
Yeah. But I also remember where I had my best shower, and it was in Springfield, Massachusetts. Oh, that was the best shower ever in the world. But I digressed.
I love it.
Yeah, but I remember that shower because I was like, oh, we need this shower head at home. Where is this shower head from? but that was, that's just absolutely the worst part of the job. Everything else is golden to me. So when we start thinking about Be Great Global and the products and the services that you have, we know that we're going to start with setting goals. What are some of the other great benefits of what you have to offer?
Yeah, so strategy is the biggest component, right? So it's the how to, and I think I've said this here, or it could have been in what we recorded earlier, but YouTube, Google, anything that you want to do, like if you're serious about it, there's a how-to tutorial video to do whatever that thing may be, right? So it's creating a strategy. So setting your goals, creating a strategy around how do you make that goal come to fruition by whatever period of time that you have set. And then the other thing is relationships. And so this is really weird coming from me, right? Because I'm not very relational. Like I am 100% task oriented. And I've had to make adjustments because what I figured out is we'll get the task complete, but then I turn around and I got all of this collateral damage. Like I got people bleeding behind me, people have died trying to get the doggone task complete. But relationships are important, especially if you're in a business where you're helping people do something. And most businesses are helping people do something or helping to make somebody's life better in some form or some fashion. And so being able to be relational, and that doesn't mean that everybody has to be your best friend, right? Because everybody will not be my best friend. But getting to finding a level or degree where you're comfortable with people, especially in the real estate industry, like you gotta be able to build some type of commonality with people to, at the end of the day, those in real estate that do well, people like them, right? If people don't like you, you are not going to do well, period.
So you know what? I think that I'm relational. However, I never go as deep as it could go. Here would be my example. I lived in Reykjavik, Iceland. I've not been back to Reykjavik, Iceland.
Reykjavik, Iceland? When did you live there?
It's summer 1986. I was a foreign exchange student. And my Icelandic family treated me like family. They were good to me. I boo-hooed when I left, cried halfway back to the United States. And I've not kept up with them. And I 100% believe that they would have wanted to have a deeper, more profound relationship with me. And it's not that I don't care about them. So I was telling Stephen, I said, when we go to Europe for my birthday, we have to stop in Iceland. Like I cannot go to Europe and not stop and say hi to these people because they were so good to me. And the impact, it changed how I feel about people because they embraced me and they loved me. And I had, as a kid, I basically had suffered prejudice and harassment from being the only Black in the suburbs of Peoria, and just to be loved and nurtured by essentially a whole island of white folks, right? But my family and the neighbors and their friends, and they just all embraced me. So it changed my perception about people. And so I have these relationships and people are, they're glad to see me and always want to have conversations. I don't build in enough time to support the relationships because people will be like, well, can we be friends? Well, no, because I need to be a better friend to my friends already.
Right.
No, I got good folks over here who've been good to me, who just want to sit down and talk. And I'm not even able to sit down and have conversation with them because I'm all, collateral damage because I'm working, baby. I'm on this. Look, I got a to-do list right now. Man, it's kind of funny how people want to love you and we don't have enough time to get loved.
I know. But I don't think so. Like the friendship thing, so I just kind of see that a little differently than I think most people. But I think that I interviewed a guy a couple weeks ago, and one of the things that he said to me, he was like, I can contribute my success thus far to how I treat people, how I talk to them. And, he said, how I treat people, how I talk to them, how I respond to them. And then he said, also how I teach people how to treat me. And I stopped and I said, okay, hold on, let's unpack that a little bit. And so he just talked about, I have respect for my time. And so I teach people to also respect my time. He said, so we create a level of respect in the first place that most people in business or working together don't have, just from that simple point. And he was like, and when people understand who you are and how you operate and they can respect that, he was like, there's a whole different level of relationship that can take place. Now, that doesn't mean that he becomes their best friend, right? But people want to be treated well. People want to know that at the end of the day, you care. You care if they get in the house for their kids and, that they have their own place to live. They want to know that you care about that and that it's not just about getting a check when this transaction is done.
Wow. I will say this. I've done a very good job of teaching people how they have to treat me.
I have not. I'm working on it though. I'm a work in progress.
I've done it. One, because I'm very vocal about it. And I don't mind telling people, because one thing Landmark taught me was I need to be very clear with my words. So someone asks for some money. I don't tell people I don't have money anymore, because I used to be the go-to. I'm broke. Well, no, I'm not speaking into existence that, right? No, I'm not broke, right? And so I just had to tell a family member this. I would prefer for you to be mad at me for me not giving it to you than for me to be mad at you because you never paid back according to the terms. Yep. So no, I don't have any money to give you. So I've become very clear. But even if you look at social media and technology, which is where I'm operating a lot, I don't come over to other people's pages and make derogatory, mean, nasty, any comments on their post. And people tell me it's so much drama on Facebook. No, not if you set people up the right way. I have zero drama. And you, my friend, I have zero drama and nonsense on my Facebook account, but any of my accounts, because we're not going to have that. Right. I'm not doing that with you. And I know where people live. You disrespect me, I will have to roll down on you. It's just who I am. They said it's a difference in personality than in traits. And I have I don't tolerate disrespect and inconsiderate people. I can deal with anything, but if you're disrespectful and inconsiderate, you've lost me, because it's not, no part of me is accepting that. And I remember my father told me not too long ago, he said that my mother would not care for the relationship that we have today. And I told him, you're 100% correct. My mother would want us to have a different relationship. I said, but I'm not my mother, and I won't tolerate the things that Hazel tolerated.
Yeah.
And he understood that. My mother to me was way too tolerant. She was too nice and people walked over her. I'm not my mama. Love her, but I'm that nonsense. I wouldn't be doing none of that. And he had to back up, because he said it because he thought it was going to be an end, right? Now, that's not your end here, pumpkin pie. I'm not doing that. Right. And so we have to teach people how to treat us. That was kind of profound.
That's what I thought too, right? Like, I think it's important that we set boundaries and that we set the right type of boundaries.
So in real estate,
we don't do that very well.
In real estate, because I've always found this to be quite fascinating, actually crazy. I don't think anyone should be available 24/7, 365.
Yeah, me neither.
Yet I hear real estate professionals say it all the time. But if you talk to top producers like Kendra Cook, I'm turned around to look at the book. One of these books is about how to build a sustainable roadmap to a successful $30 million real estate business. And in that book, she 100% talks about people should understand what time you start, what time you end.
Yeah.
Period. And you should have an off day. And if you set the standards and those expectations, you can have essentially balance. Now, is there true balance? Probably not. But at least you get some free time. Because what's funny, people say, because I know you don't get any sleep. Oh no, you don't know Marky. Marky gets 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night because I don't function without it. Right. So I got to go to bed time and to get up time. But in that book, 100%, she's like, your voicemail says it, your email says it. Everything talks about your start, your finish, and when you return phone calls so that you can set realistic expectations inside of the relationship.
Yeah, that's one of the things I appreciated about you. Is you were very clear when you were available, and most importantly, when you were not. And you didn't deviate from that for the most part.
I still don't deviate with it. And everybody wants to have a meeting, right? Well, first of all, what's the intentions for the meeting? Because I'm not going to necessarily fit into what it is you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And I want to be clear. I have a business plan, and there are certain things that I'm supposed to do and certain things I'm not supposed to do. And so you selling me is not going to get me to deviate from what I know I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah. So, I think I said real clear intentions, right?
You do.
About how we get ready to operate, right? Oh, wow. So, okay. So how people will treat you, because we're going back to Be Great Global. What else? Because people need help.
Yeah. If you got your goals, you got your strategy for how you're going to do that. You've built in a support system, right? And I think that can come into place with your mastermind group. The other thing is you just got to take action. You know, you are the author of your destiny, right? So you determine if you fail or if you succeed, period. And you know, we talked a little bit about excuses, and I've had clients who, like, every turn there's an excuse, right? And then you call them out on it, and now they pissed off and they mad and they're upset, and you've hurt their feelings. Like, no, this is what you said you wanted to do. My job is to hold you accountable to doing what you said you want to do. Now, if what you want to do have changed, let me know. So then now I know what I need to hold you accountable to. But don't give me excuses as to why you didn't do it or couldn't do it or why it's not done. Do what you need to do to make it happen. Like, the action part, I think is just key, because, you know, we'll get paralysis, right? And we'll do nothing. We just sit there and we complain, right? Why we didn't do it, why we couldn't do it, or whatever. But take some action, even if it's just small steps. And even if you miss it, it's okay. Get up the next day and do it.
We talked about earlier, I was telling you some of the systems that I was going to implement in 2020, and then you gave me a recommendation for a system that would be all-inclusive. One thing I will say we have to get over, and that is stepping over dollars to pick up pennies, but the new flashy item. And to essentially look for just a few tools that we can master those tools in order to be more efficient. The latest thing has been, a lot of people are talking about TikTok, right? And my thing is that
TikTok,
I
don't think I've heard of that.
TikTok is it's an app, and it's a video app. But the question is, how do we take that and leverage it in order to make more money, not just add an additional task to our calendar every single day, because people are becoming overwhelmed and they don't know which way to move. I'm going to tell you, and can I show this? I wonder if I can pull this down. I actually, right here, I have a calendar for my son, and he's in 7th grade, because he wasn't performing the way he was supposed to perform. And I realized that he didn't know what he was supposed to do every single day. Mm-hmm. And I came with Monday through Saturday, because he can have one day off, Sunday. And I have all of the subjects, and every single night of the week, I have what he is supposed to do. Okay. So reading IXL writing, that's Monday and Tuesday night. Saturday mornings is his reading response. He has to spend 60 minutes, because he was just overwhelmed every single day with the amount of work that he had to do. So I met with each teacher. I said, well, I need to understand, do you have reoccurring assignments? What are those assignments? I took everything that they said, and then I put it into a little chart where every day he knows exactly what he's supposed to do. Yep. Well, people in real estate, if you don't have a calendar, right, you don't know what you're supposed to do. And I'm flabbergasted at people who don't have a calendar, because I live a life by a calendar.
Yeah.
Not only do I have Google Calendar, every morning I get an update of that day, what I'm supposed to do, but then I also print it out in paper format. So 3 ways I'm looking at the same stuff that I'm supposed to do every single day, because if I don't do it, then I will never meet the goals.
Yeah. And so that's an example of being intentional about making sure that you're taking the actions that you need to take. And so it's really cool, because one of the things that I've been thinking about, so with Be Great Global, we give away a freebie every month for the most part. And so I was thinking about, what can I do for the start of the year? And I remember 2 years ago, I had this idea to put together kind of a social media marketing calendar. And from the standpoint of what are the holidays, what are the observances, and then what are all these extra, like Hamburger Day? So we got like all these extra days throughout the year. Like, what if I could put together a calendar? And this has been done before, so it's like not that it's nothing new, but here's a calendar that can tell you in any given day, here's something that you can publish on social media, right? Just to make it a little bit easier. Because when we're thinking about our social media marketing and marketing in general, if you haven't planned that stuff out, like specifically planned it out, like it's so much harder and it could be so overwhelming. But if you have a plan, Mondays, I'm doing this. Tuesdays, I'm doing this. Wednesdays, I'm doing this. Fridays, you can expect this from me. It just makes life easier for you, but also for the people that are following you, because now they know what they can expect from you moving forward. So on Fridays, if you got free fun Fridays, they know, hey, 10 o'clock, Anita's doing free fun Fridays. Let's see what she's talking about this Friday. So now they have something to look forward to. And inside of planning content, like content marketing, is a huge task. But if you can plan that stuff out, it just makes it so much easier.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And to pre-plan it. And what a lot of people don't think about is bulk creation. So it's a concentrate on solutions, not on the problem. And we have become accustomed that the front door might not be open, right? So then you try the back door. Oh, well then, is there an open window? Oh, how do I scale the building? Man, maybe they had to drop me down with a rope, right? So we're finding all of these ways because we need access and entry. And a lot of times people, if the front door isn't open, that's it.
Yeah.
But we're entrepreneurs and we're supposed to concentrate on solutions, not on the problems. So I know that you have Be Great Global. How would one connect with you, find you online?
Yeah, so begreatglobal.com is the website. And so once again, once you get there, there's the podcast, there's training programs, and then there's resources to just help make whatever it is that you do a lot easier. And it's pretty organized for the resources, and I'm continually adding to that. And then social media, I'm AC Clinton and the number 1 everywhere. So Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Pinterest, and Instagram. And so I try to keep everything as simple and consistent as possible. The podcast is Be Great Global, but you can find that over on the website as well. At the end of the day, I just want to help people. I want people doing what they're called to do because I know when they do it, it makes my life better. It makes my experience in the world better. And so that's my ultimate goal.
So I'm looking here at your email and it says transition from dreamer to game changer. I guess the question we have for people is 2020 going to be your year, the game changer year. And as I keep telling people, because I often use Be Remarkable, I want 2020 to be your best year to date, because everybody keeps saying best year ever. No, I want if this is gonna be my best year, I want something greater to come even later, right?
Absolutely.
And so transition from dreamer to game changer. Let 2020 be your best year ever.
I'm with you. And it all starts with a 2020 vision. What is your vision for the year? And then what are the goals? And then what are you going to do each quarter, month, week, day to make that happen? That's it.
Come through with the plan and the goals. AC, I thank you for being here with us today.
No problem. Thank you for having me. Super excited. And can I just say, so Marky, I'm excited about the book. Like, you've done an amazing job. And, my book's coming out soon. I'm still working on getting my course complete. But like, it's been encouraging just watching your experience inside of publishing your first book. So
Well,
kudos to you. Absolutely.
Thank you. And look, I already know your book is going to be a hitter. And so I can't wait for it to come and to come back and let our audience know about it, because you changed, 15 years ago, you changed my life. And a lot of things that I do as a result of you and Freddie telling me to do it. And you told me I had to be firm because some of these changes did not come easy. And so I attribute a lot of my success to our relationship. So I am thankful that you are in my life.
Awesome. Ditto.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Guys.